So this is the second episode for YouTube. It'll be our third hour into our session, but second episode of Misrolled Adventures. We just finished off a combat as they had just left Baldur's Gate, fighting about 8 Peritons, one of which had a dark pulsating heart that had these veins that coalesced around it that gave it more resilient and a lot stronger, though drew it to madness. We just finished off. Everyone survived, miraculously. A lot of the top of the cart has been damaged as 2 Peritons just gored and ripped it open.
Gosh, man.
You're going to need wood for that. Anyways, but yeah, that's where we just left off. So what do you guys want to do?
Gosh, man. Oh, so what are we doing?
Yeah, exactly. What are we doing? That's kind of what he asked.
We got some spare wood from the barrel cart?
Any major damages?
Yeah.
What do you think? You hear Harvey from the inside shout. As you can also see,
the sky.
Rex hole punctures through the top with the same hole and just waves his sword around as you can see it now. There seems to be a hole. He just waves his sword around.
I'm coming. I gallop up and it's like, oh wait, any wood we have? Do we have any wood?
We have about a large number of dudes around here. I don't know if that's the wood you need.
Maybe for you. Let's see.
Well, you would know. You came from the cart with all the barrels.
Yeah.
Hey, Gopher, I order you to empty one of those barrels. He needs wood.
Ooh, is this a drinking game?
He doesn't hear this. You also don't hear this.
Wait on that.
Well, actually, you can because you're not at the cart yet. Essentially, the cart. Now that all the Peritons have
higher up technically. So
now that all the Peritons have left, the carts have slowed back down. Like there's no immediate threat, especially since it's still flat land. Basically, you can see there's no risk currently of any other creatures.
Well,
at least visible.
Right up to like the Tinkerer, see if she has a spare plank or two.
That's what I'm going to go do. So
Okay.
I'm going to gallop up. I'm going to go up to Alan at least.
Okay. Yeah, you get up to Alan. You can see that Alan's got a pretty big nick onto his face, but he seems to be pretty fine. He doesn't seem to be giving much notice.
Hey, Alan.
Oh, yes. What's up?
Any major casualties over here on your guys' side?
No. You guys were getting attacked, though. Are you fine?
We're all fine. We just have a cut kind of busted. I actually came over to ask if you guys have any spare wood.
He looks at the carriage that's designed like with very fine shreds of different kinds of wood that's been all painted over to be beige, and it's just got these it's very royal-esque. There's nothing else to the part of it though. And he goes, "We don't. Sorry."
Oh, it's alright. I had to try to ask. Alright, I'm going to go ask the other group.
Okay, yeah. So you just keep traveling by. Yeah. They're going 30 feet, so you're essentially going you're going twice as fast, essentially.
And then I guess I walk up to the Lord Lord.
The Lard Lord, yeah. You can see the Lard Lord is just strutting by with his white stallion and several metal plates that are on it. You can actually see the stallion has a pretty deep cut on its side, but it's not being healed or patched up, so you can actually see the horse is kind of at a limp, and the large Lard Lord is kind of just kicking at it to keep it going at the speed.
Excuse me, my lord.
Ah, looks like somebody understands royalty.
Yeah, I was gonna ask any major casualties over here on your side?
Major casualties, no. We did unfortunately lose one of our trusted allies, as he made a noble sacrifice. Shush, you're not there. As he made a noble sacrifice to be part of the better cause for us to escape.
I understand. Well, I was about to ask, by any chance, would you have any spare wood lying around?
No, unfortunately, we need all of our objects and cloths to make purchase and settlements in Waterdeep. I need to bring class to that city of just putridness.
Understandable. Well, I see a little problem. If you don't mind me, Your horse looks a little wounded there. If you don't mind me, I can take care of that.
Yeah, it's a useless steed anyways. If you can't keep up with our travels, then I'll just have to leave him by the side. I'll have to be able to take the horse that our trusted ally left behind for us.
Well, I'll take the horse, then you're just gonna leave it.
No, it's still my horse, but I'm still going to be using it for the time being.
Alright, well, here you go then. I will cast Healing Word.
Okay, go ahead and roll Wild Magic. Alright, you're good. D4 plus your charisma.
Yeah, from our Lord.
5
points of healing. You can see the wound kind of heals up, but there's still like this pussiness that's still to it, and you can see that the limp is less of the pain that it was enduring and more of something else that might be ailing it.
Ooh, okay.
Maybe the guy kicking it.
Well,
You can also see, since you've been traveling for several hours as well, and they had to briskly run, the horse, because of all like the metal plating that's on it, as for purely design, it doesn't actually protect any of the vitals, is starting to chafe around certain parts of the hide. You can see that there's sores being able to develop.
so it's not comfortable. Gotcha. Alright. Well, I did what I can for him. I'll be seeing you, my lord. Have a good day. And I'll continue forward.
Okay. Yeah. After that, you essentially make your way to the mechanics. Is anybody else doing anything during this time?
He was in front of the mechanic.
No, he's behind it because it went. And because I have the chart.
Because I thought
Oh yeah, it does. It does go to that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oops, I guess I'll do that part later then.
Yeah, we'll do it anyway. Because you're checking up
Like,
on
so I'm going to talk to the mechanic then.
Oh, the mechanic was in front of you.
Excuse me.
So basically what happens is when you sorry, I had to think of what was happening now. So you get to the mechanic's place. What ends up happening is you can see that
Just shoot you in the face.
no, there are 3 others that are on horses. One of which is this elvish man. He's got pale white hair. He's got a bow strapped to his back. Though looking at him, you can see that the bow has this like cylindrical scope-like device on it that looks completely pointless. Like it just looks not needed in any sort of fashion. It may be a little bit encumbersome, but it's got it strapped to the bow itself. You also see this tiefling man who has a long sword and shield. He's riding on the back of the same horse. And he's just got pure blue skin. He also has white hair, and he just kind of glances at you, doesn't give any notion. There's one other who is actually on his own cart, or on his own steed, rather. And you can see, just off of like brief glances and comparisons to the woman that you had spoken to before, he also seems to be half elf and tiefling. He's got the same skin tone, same elvish nature, though he looks very meager and very shy almost to the rest of you.
Well, I'll go up to the person we were talking to before with the discussion.
Yeah, she's essentially just like pounding away at some kind of metal that's sitting on the cart as it's being driven. She's not paying attention to the horses either. The horses are just piling forwards as there is no one at the reins currently. But you say hello as she glances up, and you can see that she's got these thick goggles on that are kind of like they got long stretches to them. And she flicks them up. What do you want?
Oh, well, I was about to come ask if you guys had any major casualties over here.
We weren't attacked. It was fat ass over there.
Oh.
Sent one of his men to die.
Yeah, that's from... Oh, I see. I was about to say, I can't...
Yeah.
I almost said it, but anyways. Oh, I see. Well, nothing happened here. Well, then I guess I'm not too much needed. But I was also going to ask... Do you have any spare wood, by chance?
Wood? No, I'm sorry. I deal all in metals work, as you can see up here. And she kind of like holds up this conglomerate, just mass of a sphere of metal. It doesn't look like it actually has any purpose. It's just a massive ball of different kinds of metal that have been pounded into it.
I see. Well, how about any spare metal scraps?
You see her just rummaging through. She gets down, because it's a fairly large cart. It's actually pretty deep, and that's the purpose of carrying all this metal. You can hear her, like, rummaging through things, just pulling out pieces. She, like, lifts them and puts them delicately on top of another part of a pile. It looks completely disorganized. She pulls out, I don't know if it'll do much, but there's this, and it's just like a single iron plate. Doesn't look like it'll do that much, but it's like a plate of iron.
Oh, it's something. I'll use this. Thank you. Oh, also, I didn't get your name.
My name is Shayla Band.
Well, nice to meet you, Shayla. I'm Ryder Hopkins.
You'll know my name quite a bit, because the reason that I'm here, if you even remotely care, is I'm creating a trial to see if I can create communications from city to city. That's what I have these for. And she pulls out these solid. She pulls out these solid platinum rods that are about 2 feet in length and about 1/4 inch in diameter. And when she pulls them out, you can hear them like ringing almost, like she just like shakes them and just go.
So, is this some sort of magic, or
More or less, what I'm doing is these rods they vibrate and they can transfer vibrations to each other. So what I'm planning on doing is whenever we sleep, I'm planting several of them into several different places. So that way, from one city of Waterdeep to Baldur's Gate, I can create a sort of communications relay. Or attempt to. It's not something I've done before, but at the same time, I am myself, and I am a master inventor. So why not give it a shot?
Oh well, sounds
The
interesting.
wilderness
I would like to know.
ruined.
I would like to know how it goes at the end.
Well, if you ever hear about the Shayla Way, you'll know that this is what it is. It's a great name for it, I think.
All right, Shayla, wait, I'll keep that in mind. Thank you. And then well, since there's like I said, no problems, I'll be on my way. Thank you for the scrap metal.
Okay.
Metal plate.
So then we'll just retcon. You went up to the other dudes,
Blah, blah,
and then
blah,
blah, blah, blah. You
And
went
then,
back.
Yep.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Gotcha. Is anybody else doing anything while he's spending like a good 10, 15 minutes to do this?
No.
I will take the silence as nothing. Okay. So,
I was more waiting.
Okay, I'm back, guys. Did you guys try fixing the cone at all?
We need wood. That's what you went to do.
Yeah. Well, I thought you guys might have tried something, but
Did you get wood?
the only thing I got was this metal.
You couldn't even accomplish getting what?
No one happened.
What are you good for?
What are you good for?
Protecting this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Until I go for one.
So, I guess the way I'll try to how are we going to place this on there? That's the question, though.
You just keep
I compare the metal to the hole we have, and does it cover it?
well, you have to get off your horse to get on top of it.
Just give it
Oh
to
yeah.
me.
Oh, here you go. Try to.
You want to go see your guy in the back that's got any?
Yeah, I'll go ask him. Compare the hole for me.
All right, so you're going up there to compare
Yeah.
it. So the plate is very similar to basically a single sheet of metal for plate armor. It's just it's pretty wide and long, so it basically creates a flat plane that you can put it to. Though it's not going to cover all of it, it's going to cover at least some of the holes by any means. And it is probably more sturdy than the wood that it is, though you need some way to meld it to the wood itself without damaging the rest of the cart.
Sheet metal.
You don't know what that would do? You're not a spellcaster.
Turn the whole cart down to the ground.
Honestly, I was thinking that, but then I was like, no. Anyways.
I move it. You guys got anything? We got some metal to repair the hole. You got anything we could use to?
You're shouting down to Harvey and
Yeah.
Rex inside.
Yeah.
You can see that Rex has essentially placed a pillow over Harvey's head, and Harvey has gone limp underneath the pillow. And then eventually, he's not dead. Put him to sleep.
Oh, thank God.
You kill.
He'll be fine.
He choked him out.
You got any way to
There's
keep this connected to the
nothing in here.
Do you have any way? I'm going to repeat that.
We don't know because we don't have his inventory.
He doesn't have anything. Let me look at his stuff.
Alright, so anyways, we were just...
He doesn't
Hey,
have anything.
Hey, Mead. By chance, do you have any spare wood besides those barrels of beer?
No, once the barrels are empty, probably. But they still got beer in them, and I prefer to keep them as long as possible. And keeping the barrels themselves.
What's-
Barrels are expensive.
Oh, yeah, good point. Alright, never mind then. How much you say would be a barrel of beer right now?
A barrel of
If
beer,
I just buy it off you right now. Including the barrel.
including the barrel? That's quite expensive.
We can't.
The beer itself is pretty... I'll sell it to you for the cost of the barrel, because honestly the beer costs me nothing to make. 2 gold?
Sure.
I thought a barrel was way more expensive. 2 fucking gold.
Alright, here you go. Take this 2 gold.
Can we make that 3 actually? Because I
You know
just
what?
realized
Here's 3 and a silver piece.
bites on the silver. Cool. He has it in his teeth essentially. All right, so you bought a barrel.
With
How
beer.
are you going to transport that to the car?
Gopher!
Yeah.
Get your ass over here!
You do not have a horse.
Yeah, I have to hop off the cart and run to your ass.
Alright,
I mean, you can. It's not. You're not eating like a rush.
take
So.
one of these beers and drink it as much as you can.
Ha! I already ordered him to do that.
I bought you a drink. You owe me a...
Gopher, I order you to no longer delay that order. Fulfill Jackie's order.
Oh, alright, so...
Chug it!
I go and,
empty that barrel.
If you need so, me and Rex will help you.
Alright. So, yeah.
So what's happening right now?
I go and grab the barrel and bring it back to our cart.
Okay.
And,
You have cunning action, don't you, at level 2?
Oh,
So
yeah,
he can also move as.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
He can move around.
Alright, so yeah, you can essentially pick it up, and you are moving faster than the horses are carrying people with this.
Because he's happy, he's like...
Yeah, you are energetic as shit. You're like, I'm excited, and you just go plop it down. You can actually feel the car go a little bit.
Alright, drink it.
Alright, I sit on the cart besides Randall, start drinking.
Right.
Okay, so you have it's basically the barrels. They're completely sealed. They don't have spigots in them until later on. So basically, what you have to do is you just take out one of your daggers or a blade or something. And you just go and carve out the top. Plunge your thick hand into it and just rip off the top.
I'll take this piece of wood. Alright,
I grab
Pass it over to him. Okay.
Yeah.
I go.
Wait, is this enough wood? Would it be enough?
It would be enough to cover probably one of the holes. Yeah.
I'll cover one of the holes. I have to roll my
No.
magic.
Cover them hoes.
Marcel,
you
your
have-
horse.
Do you
Oh, yeah.
have mending?
Yeah, do you
I do have.
Alright, here you go. Alright. Have
All
fun.
right. Yep. So you climb up to the top with your rodents. You're just like plop on up.
As his supervisor, I go up next. Supervisor and I guess friend. I go up. I don't know. She met him like.
I also before I mended. I
Okay,
asked
Max.
Randall or
Let him talk.
Yeah.
I forgot about Rex getting alcohol if he wants any.
Go ahead and finish your thing.
But I go over to to Gopher and it's like, okay, you keep drinking. If you get poisoned, I'll be right here. I have 5 more points.
So basically you would also know a barrel of liquid is 40 gallons.
Yeah.
Gallons.
Yeah.
A pint is 4 of those.
Yeah.
Wait, no, an 8.
Hey, it's fair
No,
game.
it's 8.
Because a quart is 4.
It's a quart, yeah.
So there is 320
Yeah.
gallon or pints of alcohol in this barrel.
Oh, yeah, you said beer, not
Beer is alcohol.
But yeah, okay, yeah. You're right.
Hey, Asparagus, you want to drink with us?
Sure.
Drinks on me!
Paid for any of this, someone's what to do.
Alright, the whole party gets a drink.
You know what? I'll be right back. I'm gonna roll up to Alan and be like,
Jacqueline has never drank anything in her
Alan.
life. She'll be like,
you
fuck
busy?
it. Why not?
Yeah,
Oh.
I'm protecting our
Oh.
carriage.
I got a barrel of beer if you want.
Don't drink. Sorry, on the job. Gotta stay
Good point.
inebriated.
Good point.
Because he is drinking right away.
Not inebriated. Inebriated.
Honestly, I don't want to drink it either, but it's for a good cause, because that's the only way we can get spare wood. And I don't want to toss out all that alcohol, all that beer, so...
Yeah, I want beer. Hey, he looks over to the half-orc man who's completely stone-faced, like he's only looking forwards. And the halfling is once again back onto his shoulder. He goes, Karn, do you want any beer? He looks down. Sure.
Go, is it okay for him to leave his post to go grab some quick? Is that fine?
The halfling basically like latches down onto his neck and just like dangles onto him and grabs the reins with his feet. I think I can handle it. The halfling grabs the reins and then Karn kind of just steps off as it's moving, planting a foot forwards. You can see the mud just kind of slides with him as he's still not fully off.
Does he eat shit?
No, what ends up happening is let me make a strength check. What ends up happening is he places his foot, and you can almost see the cart start to lift. With a strength check of a natural 20, he nearly flips the carriage by planting a foot, and eventually you see the cart just start to lift slightly, and then he steps fully off, and the cart goes way faster than it normally was. The horses slow back down, because before they were just trudging along with this man on it.
Oh, God.
Randall is just horrified.
He's just stomping through the mud towards you now, basically.
Yeah, Randall's just horrified.
You think Randall's horrified? There's a half-orc giant walking towards Jacqueline right now.
He's 6'6", yeah.
Yeah. She does not take kindly to orc.
He's half orc, but yeah.
Don't care. She was scared of Chin Chan Shed.
Wait, you guys said Zacchaeus is a tiefling, right?
Yeah.
He's a 400 fucking pound tiefling?
Yeah.
He's 400 pounds, also no muscle because his strength is 8. Like,
Oh my God.
So Zacchaeus is a thick boy. He's also a thick boy.
Mr. Dick.
he's a thick tiefling that turns into bears.
Oh.
He's got to have the hibernation weight with him.
Bears and alligators.
Occasionally. Okay.
And sometimes a squirrel.
But yeah, so essentially, Karn sits on the cart with you, as he does not have a horse, if you would be much obliged. He actually approaches and says, would I be able to sit with you?
Yeah, I asked Randall to scoot over so we can make some room.
Oh, I'm gonna fall back quick, and I'm gonna use my glass vials, 2 of them, fill it with beer.
Okay.
And then I'm going to continue forward. Go ahead.
Okay. So you basically dunk a empty potion flask of liquor, and then you continue moving forwards.
Yeah, like towards the other.
Yeah.
Okay,
So Karn sits down after you guys kind of scoot over, Randall having the reins. The barrel is very compact onto this, because it's about a good, 4 feet wide.
Yeah.
So it's essentially taking the place of a person. Randall almost needs to nearly sit on it, just to make
At this
space.
point, I'm on the roof.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You're staying on the roof.
I'm also asking Rex if he wants any.
Rex goes, I mean, I'll take some beer, and Harvey would absolutely say no, but he's currently not conscious.
Hand me up anything you want filled with it.
He brings up a flask that he stole. There we go. Yeah, I'll do that.
Does he have a water stand?
So
Yeah, but he wants to keep the water.
so
Very true.
gonna go up to the Lord.
Okay. Yeah, basically you guys are chugging this thing.
My lord. I have some beer here if you want.
I don't drink this peasant drink.
Oh, okay.
Beer.
Yes.
Beer.
Yes.
Beer.
Yes.
And the woman that is like the mage, the woman mage that's there, she kind of goes up. Like, the horse is tethered to the cart, so that way it doesn't run away. So she gets onto it and pulls out these massive bottles that are, like, designed of just beautiful, elegant, like, color and design. I have the finest wine that you will ever find in Baldur's Gate. Why would I need this beer?
Just in case you run out, I guess, and want more alcohol.
I would rather die.
Alright. Well, I
often.
well, alright. Be seeing you then. And I guess I get out forward towards
The tarp?
back.
To the mechanic.
Yes.
Okay.
I already forgot her name too.
Shayla.
Shayla. Okay. Hey, Shayla.
Once again, because you had just recently talked to her maybe 10 minutes ago, her eye goggles come back up. What do you want? I'm busy.
Want some beer?
No, I'm working.
Now you want to save it for later?
Fine. And she grabs it, puts a cork in it that she has just lying around.
Alright. Well,
I thought you
enjoy yourself.
The cork's not wood.
We have more of you. If anyone in your group wants any.
It is wood.
What'd you say? Oh, Jordan, I think your food's here.
Yeah. Thank you.
Directions.
Thank you, Han. Tip me next time.
I actually do have spare cash.
I didn't even hear that.
So, hey, does anyone else in your group want some beer by any chance?
The very shy man approaches Shayla, kind of like glancing at you, and then whispers to her, "Can I have the other flask for my younger brother?" He refuses to talk, so...
That's fine. Well, if anyone wants any more, just tell them it's way in the back. If they're okay with leaving.
I mean,
Before it runs out, at least, because we have drinking machines over there.
well, I mean, if I finish my work within the next few days, maybe I'll go.
Alright, will do.
And basically, the man once again kind of whispers to her, looking at you, and she goes, "He says thank you."
You're welcome,
He whispers to the woman again. His name is... What is his name again? It is... Trey Band.
Little Trey?
Enjoy your
brand!
Sounds like a brand.
Jesus.
Trey, man. Little Trey, lad.
Oh, it's like Ray-Ban.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
If you want any more, be all guests. Go back there. You don't have to say anything. Just come up to me, and I will assume I know what you want.
I'll just throw the bear.
He whispers to the woman. He says, okay.
Be seeing you. And I travel back.
Okay. So you guys are chugging along. How much of this are you guys actually drinking? Like, who's all partaking in this beer?
Pretty sure everyone in our group.
Is Randall? Randall?
Max!
What? I'm just sitting here. I'm not participating in the drink.
You're not drinking. Okay, that's all I
said
needed
that
to know. I didn't hear that.
Max!
I was just like, Randall, Max! And there's the peak in the audio. Anyways, so with everyone else drinking, Randall's sitting on top after finishing casting the mending. You can actually see the wood also melded pretty
Go for
nicely.
drinking most of it, because that is his order.
Yep.
Okay.
Straight out of the barrel.
I'll have Gopher then make a Constitution saving throw.
I'm only drinking 2 cups.
2 cups. Okay. How much is Zacharis and Jacqueline drinking?
Since Jacqueline doesn't know how much she can take since she's never drank before, she's kind of going in cautiously, but also not really paying attention.
Okay, I'll have you make a Constitution saving throw. It won't be as severe.
I got a 13.
13? Okay, yeah. You're pretty drunk. You're not by any means like
Piss drunk.
piss drunk. You're
Okay.
still pretty cognitive,
Right.
but you're definitely
I'm
drunk
there.
because this beer is also when he needs beer. It is pretty nasty beer.
Okay.
What'd you roll?
Holy shit, 24!
So you're sipping away at this. Though tasting kind of weird and having that weird tang to it, and that you get a slight buzz. The rest of it is like nothing. Like you're nearly drinking as much as Gopher is at this point. And
My Constitution for saving throws is +5!
yeah,
Oh,
And I rolled a 19! Holy
Yeah.
fucking
your Constitution's high. Zacharis, sorry, how much are you drinking, by the way?
I'll up like 1 cup and just watch Jacqueline carefully.
Okay.
Mine's +5.
That is.
Yeah.
Let me make one for Karn as well. Karn is also pretty drunk. He's got the similar Constitution score that.
Heads up.
Oh yeah, the light.
What is it?
Yeah. Okay. No. So I just looked at the wall as well.
I do.
It's sad. Anyways, so
Still up.
yeah, that's amazing. So what ends up
We
happening?
have 2.
Both Karn and Gopher are pretty drunk. Karn is drinking far more than Gopher is as well. Like he's essentially if it was a competition, sure. But Karn also he's still stone faced. He's not really changing his emotion by any means. And he just looks to you all. So what exactly is it that you're here for?
Protecting a guy in this carriage here.
You're protecting a man.
Yes.
Very similar to our situation. We're protecting a woman.
I wish we were protecting a woman.
No one else wishes that that you were protecting a woman.
I'm just saying.
Well, You're doing a fine work, I suppose. We watched the
As we're drinking.
creatures. We just survived an ordeal. I would take this as a time of celebration.
Exactly. Who knows? We might die tomorrow and we won't be able to do this again.
Like 7 more things.
When you look at now, you see
It's time
one.
to see 8 blue dragons.
You just see the same
Just
blue
like
dragon.
it just mist starts to form.
No. Well, why are you guys having to travel this far? Is protecting a merchantman?
Yeah, we're just mercenaries. We just
Just
do
look,
what
try to
we're
look for
hired
jobs.
for.
That's fair enough.
That's the way we make a living.
That's fair.
What about you?
Well, we're protecting the Grand Maven. She is quite the political figure in Baldur's Gate, and if you haven't heard, there's a large group of militiamen and women that are citing the Sparks. Did you say spiders or sparks?
Sparks.
The Sparks. Yeah. So yeah, I've heard of them. They've been taking out political figures that go against them, and
Funny enough, our man has a similar problem.
Exactly the same exact problem.
Exactly,
To be
yeah.
fair with you.
Interesting. Well, it's probably a bad time to be a politician in Baldur's Gate right about now.
It is.
And he just takes his. He basically has he just picks up some of the barrel and just pours it into his mouth, and he's just drenching his face with liquor as well, or with beer as well.
Also, what are you? Are you also a mercenary?
Gopher's now piss drunk as he just starts to laugh at nothing.
Randall's not very entertained by Gopher.
I actually follow Alan. We've been trusted adventurers for a while, and the halfling man over there is new, but the woman is Alan's sister, amongst other things.
The one with the broken glasses, right?
Yeah, she's a person.
From what I can tell, yeah. From that little.
From what I saw, your halfling guy is pretty.
He's a rambunctious man. We haven't been with him very long. We actually hired him on for this adventure.
You let him perch on your shoulder.
He's a very nice man. He's very. He has a way with words. Yeah, very charismatic. I mean, yeah, more or less. He's also a little man. I think that I could probably crush him. Worst case scenario, if he tries anything.
Okay.
But the Grand Maven seemed to trust him, so we're stuck with him.
Do you know what your Grand Maven looks like, by chance?
Oh, absolutely. In order to do that, Alan doesn't work under any falsehoods. He likes to know his target, knows who he's protecting, and then knows where he's going. If he doesn't know any of those three, then he doesn't take the job. He's a very straightforward man, enjoys people, enjoys the truth. If you lie to him, then you might be on his bad side. Apart from that, he's a very kind fellow.
Alan and women Tiefling over there might get along very swellly then.
Because I haven't been keeping any secrets from anyone. No.
I mean, everyone has their secrets, but...
Exactly.
Randall leans over there. None at all.
So why are you guys going to Waterdeep for? Just for the money too?
Protection for the Grand
No,
Maven. I'm only following
Yeah.
Alan, and so is his
No,
sister. Apart from that, we are getting paid quite a handsome sum, about 1,200 gold, just to make it there. And then from there, we would go on to our next goal. Apart from that, I don't know anything else.
How much?
1,200
1,200?
Each
Yes.
or separate?
each, yes.
This is a Grand Maven.
I don't care.
You guys get 50 per day, right?
No, it's 50 for the whole venture.
God.
Well, hey,
Stingy ass motherfucker.
I'm right now a
player.
freelancer. I'm not actually hired on. I am with this group, but he didn't technically hire me on because he didn't trust me.
I mean, you are wearing a mask.
Yes.
He has his reasons.
Yes. You should understand. As a mercenary, you do good, but you also do bad sometimes at the same time. You make plenty of enemies out there.
I mean, You make enemies by being good. I don't necessarily make any enemies being bad.
One person good could be someone's bad. So.
It is, yes. That's why Alan is very strict with his rules on who he protects, targets, follows, goes with, anything of the sort. Apart from that, we haven't done anything quote-unquote bad by any means.
And I guess technically we haven't either. Really. Besides...
So then why wear the mask?
Try not to have it. I'll just take it off. I can't say per se trust anyone in this group. Well, I trust my group. I can trust your guys' group, but maybe Mr. Lord over there. And that top group way up in the front, you can't really trust them.
They are hiding stuff, but at the same time, they are directing us, and if they were to try to... They're alone, so they can't be trying to ambush us with anything, because if they did, we have 4 or 5 carts that would go against them.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I mean, doesn't mean they're not hiding anything
at 3.
of great importance.
They might be hiding something, but that's their own business. It's nothing that I'm concerned about. I have my goal and what I'm meant to do.
Who else puts a tarp over a cart if you're not hiding something?
Might rain.
That's what wood's for, I don't know.
Oh, wooden cart.
As he says that too, it's a good notion because if it rains, most of you don't have protection from the rain. There's nothing that's stopping you from just having the rain pelt you.
I can set myself on fire.
That's not going to evaporate the rain before it hits you. Because it also needs to hit you in order to do it.
Yeah, well.
I'm ready.
I am
Cloak's still wet. It's not water retardant.
Oh, she has a shield.
That's a valid point. If you have a shield, you can make an umbrella.
I have a cooking kit. I can use that frying pan as a drying pan.
I don't know if that's gonna do a whole lot for you.
One exit, Jordan. Leave now.
Yeah.
I also had like a question that I did
Hand me my water.
that I thought about earlier, but I didn't ask. Speaking of like rain and the elements and all that stuff, what is the actual condition of our clothes?
The actual condition of your clothes?
None of us have changed,
Yeah, no.
and they've been like slashed.
You
No one cares about you.
Just for, unless something really, like, nearly killing you bad, I've generally just had it where the cloth is able to maintain itself. And just because of the fact that you can use mending, I'm assuming that
I can't.
2 other people can. I'm just
Okay.
assuming that they're being repaired, essentially.
Okay,
So
so
save time.
they're still in like
They're still in
pristine
pristine condition. They might be, like, stained from, like, blood or something, but other
Because
than
I was thinking about it the other day, and I just go, God, Jacqueline must be basically naked right now, just wearing like.
The other thing is too
threads.
I mean, yeah, you're wearing robes, but people are also wearing armor. Armor is made to be hit. So
Well, I know that. She's wearing a robe and she's wearing traveling clothes, but like she's been hit multiple times, stabbed, like.
more or less, I've just had it so that we don't have to keep buying more clothes because you.
Okay.
Oh man, you're wearing a robe. 1 stab, clothes are ruined. Like
That's what I was assuming, but I'm like, but no one has said anything about it.
I've just been making the assumption that it's been mended.
All right.
Yeah, and nothing's happened from that.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure it's sets of clothes are described as sets of clothes.
Yeah, you probably have several shirts and stuff that just go with you.
She just has like one thing of traveling
I'm
clothes.
pretty sure
The
it's
full set and then the robe.
Regardless,
But
your
anyway.
clothes are all fine.
Okay.
So you're just chugging along with Karn as time goes on. Several hours
Do
turn
we have to
into.
make any more Constitution savings?
If you're still drinking, yeah.
I mean, she doesn't
She
feel
didn't.
any ill effects.
How much would you say is left in the barrel?
After a few hours of pure drinking, with 3 essentially chugging a fair amount because Jacqueline's been keeping up.
And I mean, Randall gives Rex a few before he steals.
Yeah, Rex is still not drinking a whole lot. He likes to stay. He also, from what I remember correctly from previous situations like this, he doesn't drink too much because he likes to stay right in the mind. And he might also be getting stopped by his blade. That speaks to him.
Probably.
Don't do it, your mom.
But I'd say it's probably half empty by now.
Damn.
Because
Shit.
40 gallons is a lot.
Yeah.
Like, you can share a quart with, like, a lot of people.
I mean-
it's fine.
We already repaired the car.
You repaired part of it. You still have... A beam is essentially missing from the top. Because
Okay.
that was ripped off.
So anyway, we
beam.
keep going.
Yeah. You're traveling forwards. You're halfway through the barrel. Karn is very drunk.
Wait,
I'm
this is
just
something
getting
we-
ready for
Hey,
Is
Karn-
there like a whole beam missing, or did like the center of the beam get ripped out?
The center of the beam got ripped out.
Okay, then we
Hey,
can
Karn,
fix
are
that.
you?
Yeah.
Are you sure you don't want to be heading back to your cut now, or?
Well, I mean, I can, I suppose.
Well, you've been kind of drinking a lot, so I'm not sure if you're okay.
I'm fine.
Huh?
Natural 15 plus his constitution saving throw. He's good.
I'm
you're
pretty
still
sure
good, then.
a half orc has some pretty
Whew.
crazy constitution.
He's got a +8. So yeah.
Shit.
Well, if Alan doesn't, I hope Alan doesn't need you or anything, but
Unless something happens, we should be fine. He's 50 feet over there. If he needs me, he can call for me.
alright.
We need you.
No, that was you from above me. So
See, he's not that.
Okay.
you can make Constitution saving
All right,
throws
well,
to continue your drinking. Your lovely, disgusting
Wait,
beer.
are you still going?
He took a couple of cups and then he was just watching you carefully.
Okay. And, Jacqueline at 21.
You're good. You're still not even like you're buzzed at this point. Go for Constitution saving throw.
I got 13, 18.
18. You're also just on the cusp of piss drunk, but you're still just drunk.
Okay.
Eventually,
You can somehow still go. I don't understand.
after a few hours further, the sun begins to start to set, and you can see that the moment that it starts to set, it is annoyingly bitter cold here. Like, it's the reason why it was like humid initially, and the humidity's still there, but now that the sun's not there, there's no.
Does it act kind of like a desert?
In a way, it's like a pretty cold and like drier location. Just because it's just flat and you're near the coast, essentially, there's still sea air that's brushing up against you.
Not a problem for me because she's used to deserts.
Yeah, but
She doesn't care.
it's still pretty rugged and starts to get a little bit cold, a little bit nippy. Later on, the bulbous man you can see is kind of talking with Alan a bit, and you can see the horse is actually worse. What you can see, the wound that you essentially healed wasn't made from combat. It looked to be just from him bucking the horse. And it's just like his ankles are just kind of covered in a little bit of dried blood. Not the horse, the man.
Yeah.
And the horse's major chafes where it's starting to actually bleed slightly from its neck and its facial region. The rest of you can see this as well as you can hear because it's pretty loud, especially with his guttural throat. Why don't you just sell me one of your horses? You're clearly not using them. You have this halfling man driving your cart. I understand he's over there drinking with the peasant folk, but if you don't need your horse, I could easily trade this one to you. It's just not suitable for my needs. And if not, then I'm going to leave it on the side of the road to die anyways, because I have another horse I could take. But I would prefer to keep it to a spare on hand at any moment. And Alan just is like shouting at, or not shouting, but like pretty sternly talking to him. Look, I'm not selling you a horse. I don't need it. Your horse is sad. You need to fucking take the shit out of your head. Grow up. And at that point, the man just was like, you made an enemy this day. You can absolutely see this as you're just kind of laying on your back, just looking up as the cart's been moving for several hours. Bored out of your mind.
I just go.
And we can't even play Ultra Hold'em.
Yeah.
Culturel strip truth hold'em
Yeah.
You have to
Damn.
all use random as a
table.
as a
Table.
But yeah,
so-
that's what you guys can see. All of you can actually see and hear
We're
this
still
as well.
drinking too, right?
Yeah. So go for your drunk. What that means is that you have disadvantage on ability checks. But you have advantage. You have advantage on if you were to take the dodge action, or not the dodge action, the more or less you're especially with your background of always essentially being drunk, you're more difficult to hit. Basically, you're under the dodge action right now.
You have mastered the
Drunken
art
fist.
of drunken
Of drunk-
fist.
yeah.
That's actually
That is
It
actually
is actually a thing.
in D&D as well.
Oh,
It is.
I didn't
Yeah, a monk can
Yes.
be the master of drunken fist.
It was
I should've been a
Panther
monk.
card.
Yeah,
The drunken
Xanathars.
monk.
It's funny. But more or less, it's not just as powerful by any means. It just makes you a little bit more difficult to hit because you also are just fucked up. And you're unpredictable to yourself. But by any means, you are
I've always
still
gotta be
drunk.
drunk. I've always gotta be drunk.
Karn is also a bit inebriated, but seeing what's going on, he actually steps off of the carriage and begins walking forwards. And he from the previous issue with the carriage that he was at before, he very carefully leaps off at the same time, so both feet hit the ground at the same time, so he doesn't at risk lift your cart off the ground.
Wow. When
Rex-
drunk,
Oh, make sure you don't do
you still
anything you
remember.
will regret later.
Rex.
I don't think I'll do anything that I don't think I would already care about. I don't think. You can see he's pretty fucked up too. That's why he's kind of repeating his same language.
I don't think
Good luck.
fuck it.
And he kind of walks forwards towards the his original cart, and you can see he's got a little bit of like a sway to him, but he still goes at the same brisk pace. And he approaches and places a hand on the horse of the bulbous man. Sir, I think it's time for you to leave. And he grabs the bulbous man by the back and literally shoves him. And because he, as a large man, is shoved forwards, he kind of like lurches forwards, and the horse then takes that as a sign of, we need to pick up the speed, and rushes forwards. So he's like now essentially in like a weird bucking motion, and he's now charging towards you. Because essentially the horse was facing back against you, so that way you can turn back to discuss matters.
Oh.
So now he's just kind of approaches you after the horse calms down from the action. It's not like the horse is gonna just stampede through everything
I was
now.
about ready to shoot.
No.
Ready to
Not at the
call.
horse, to the side to scare it.
No. It's not like he's freaking out by any means. It's still a noble horse, especially a white stallion. So, but he sees Zacchaeus' and Ryder's horses who. Different than like the rest of the horses that you all are kind of on and that are driving the cart. They're a little bit more of like an upper standard. They're a little bit nicer in terms of what they purchased. He looks to you too and says, like we discussed before, it seems my horse is getting far worse than I desired. If you'd be so kind, we could exchange horses, or I could sell you mine. Or you could sell me yours, rather.
I am sorry I can't sell my horse, because, well, it's mine, that's one thing, and I just got her, and I'm very happy with her, so I'm not...
It's a horse, it's not like a lover in your past or anything.
Wait,
Can I take this time to ritual cast animal speak with animals?
That's gonna take 10 minutes to ritual cast
That's
it.
fine.
Okay, you can start, sure.
I'm pretty sure I
so-
can just cast it.
No, ritual casting takes 10
Yeah,
minutes.
I'm saying
Oh,
I'm pretty
oh,
sure I
okay.
can just cast it.
if just for sake of argument, if Jacqueline were to go up and touch the horse and can I give like animals lay on hands?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I did poison, would the guy just die?
You don't know it's poisoned.
No, it is because that big dude is a poison.
Oh, I see what you're saying here. No, it's different because he's a plague, so he's a disease. It's different.
Oh.
It's different. It cures disease and poison. It does cure disease and poison. I know lay on hands does, but no, he wouldn't disintegrate from
Damn it.
healing.
Oh, can I give it protection from good and evil?
You should actually read that spell because it actually it's very different from the term good and evil. But
I know it's like protecting from possession.
yeah, and like
demons.
fae and undead and crap like that. Yeah.
Counts, right?
It's undead, yeah. But yeah, so basically he's trying to buy your horse.
Like I said, sorry, she's not for sale.
Look, it's a horse, alright? Mine is just not up to par. It's going to slow us all down if we don't keep up our pace.
Well, like I said, that's like my horse. I'm sorry, my lord, but I can't do it.
Wait, so are they by our...
Yeah, he's by your cart, basically, right now.
I'm gonna just lean over. Are you harassing my group?
I'm not harassing anyone. I'm making
Are you harassing my group?
Sir!
I shoot Eldritch Bolt right past his head.
That's... Okay, go ahead and shoot Eldritch. Go ahead and roll to attack. Oh, wait, you're shooting. You're
I'm
just
shooting
roll a d20 to see if you get a natural 1. Because that would change things.
We're not a part of it.
I did not get it.
You got a
I got
natural...
it too!
Okay, you're good. You're good.
Right past him.
You didn't get a natural.
That's my group.
That was real close. So basically, from the top of the cart, you snap your finger and a bolt of energy just shoots into the ground, bursting up this mud and kind of splatters onto his clothes. You can see his face kind of drop, and then it drops even further into anger.
You do not harass my group.
I'm not harassing anyone.
Another one.
That's fine. Go ahead and roll another one.
Five.
You're fine. You're not hitting him by any means. You're shooting these. Make an intimidation check.
Ooh.
Gotta keep wrapping this upside down.
Ooh. Ooh. Ooh.
What do you roll?
I don't know, I have to see what
I gotta get the rest of my...
Ooh. Pretty high.
What was the roll?
It's a 17.
Oh.
21.
That's an 18 plus his arrogance.
Shit, that's high. Oh, damn. Plus 10.
So basically, so you blast these 2 shots near him, and his face does drop into initial fear, and then drops even further, and you can see, like, it's basically that cartoon animation where the red begins to boil up and steam shoots out of his ears. I am not... I have never been humiliated in this fashion before. I am not harassing your troops, as I've been told.
Jacqueline obviously sees that Randall is about to retaliate again. Leans over and says, Randall, remember our mission. We're not supposed to, like, stick out at all. Please don't.
I don't want your damn horse, but you've made an enemy this day. You'll never be able to buy or sell anything from Baldur's Gate again once I make it back.
Good, we don't want anything from Baldur's Gate. As far as we know, we're not allowed in anyway.
So basically, he goes off in a huff.
Does he go to the beer garden?
Oh.
No.
Actually, I want to check something.
What are you doing?
Animal friendship.
Okay, what are you trying to find out what animal friendship does, or what?
Do I have to touch, or...
Let me get up the spell. Because I think it's 30 feet. So yeah, you can, okay. Cool.
I'll use my my loot to cast it,
Okay.
and on his horse.
Okay.
That's it. We'll let it go off from there.
Okay. It's now nice. That's
To me, though, isn't it?
so choose a beast you can see within range and must see and hear you. Otherwise, the beast must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or be charmed by you. It does not. Sure, it's charmed by you. What are you trying to do with it? It's charmed for 24 hours.
When is Charm able to listen to me then, right? Or
Yeah, I mean, it means you. Okay, this spell lets you convince a beast that you mean it no harm.
oh, okay,
So
that's it. I'll let it go off from there.
okay. You could so basically as Zacharis is ritual casting animal friendship, and you mark your spell slot by the way. Oh no, you used your loot, so you're good. That's also why you didn't have to roll
Wait,
that
is
magic.
he ritual casting animal friendship or communicate with animals?
I thought he was doing animal friendship.
What are you doing then?
Then he's doing...
What? What are you casting?
Speak with animals.
Oh, speak with animals. Okay. Unfortunately, it does not. Well, I mean, is speak with animals on you or with the creature?
As a self-cast.
Oh, okay. So basically, you see Ryder cast this spell over the horse. And you can see its eyes kind of glance over and look at you longingly as it leaves. It doesn't go to the beer man, but he's just pissed off now. After 10 minutes, you cast Speak with Animals on yourself.
Alright. So, wait, do you tell this to us, or you just did it yourself?
I need a couple of you to come with me just in case this goes
Alright,
poorly.
I got you, I'm coming. I mean, it best to be just us two, not the cause of the group.
The rest of you are continuing to finish off the barrel at this point.
The rest of us being the two that are still over there.
Yep.
Alright, so let's go, Asparagus.
So we walk over to the guy,
Uh-huh.
Okay.
and I walk up to his horse, and I pet it on the side of the head, and I say, "How are you doing?"
So you reach for the horse, and the bulbous man kind of just shouts at you. What are you doing? You would insult me at your cart?
Well,
And now you come to do what?
I came to apologize.
Is he still within
I
range?
didn't say anything.
No, he's like 300 feet away from you now.
I didn't say anything, but I'm sorry.
Neither
And
did
probably
I.
not much,
We were just
well, especially
standing
what my companion did. But if anything,
Make a persuasion check.
I apologize. Persuasion, you said, huh?
Yeah, persuasion.
Persuasion, like a +10 for this guy.
Is that an 18? Oh
Yep.
man, it's gonna be like a 26 or something.
25. Close enough.
Jesus.
Close enough.
Yeah, easy enough. You can see the rage boiling back down, and he puts his head up, kind of like proud once again. I'll accept your apology. I will never speak to that prepubescent man once more.
Thank you, my lord. You're so generous.
As you kind of stroke his ego. he's
Exactly.
very boisterous and
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty easy to kind of get on his good side now that you've kind of stroked that
Alright.
member.
And if Randall shows up, it can't stop.
Oh man,
Well, I brought a druid. He might be able to help with your horse.
I don't need help with my horse. I just need a new horse. Can't help what's already dead.
That could change. Asparagus?
We will see. I ask the horse what's wrong.
Okay, so it speaks to you. So essentially, after you ask what's wrong, you can hear because it doesn't actually speak. It's more just telepathic thought. It speaks to you and it goes, "This man is very heavy, especially with this stuff he's put onto me. I can barely see. It's jabbing into my sides, and if I falter for but a moment, I get two fat thighs squeezing and then ankles jabbing at me. It is unbearable underneath this fat man." I love your attempt to try to stay calm during that, and you slowly cracked.
So the horse is wearing one of those blinder things.
Pretty much, it's got jousting gear essentially. So it's got like the headpiece that goes down and the completely needless crap on
Yeah.
it. And it's just it's embroidered with an elegant
It's
design.
basically in a dress.
Pretty much. And it's heavy garb. It's not something easy either. It's like solid cloth.
I look to the Lord, and I say, well, I don't mean to be rude here, but the horse informs me that all of this stuff is too heavy. His gear, specifically.
It's too heavy.
Yes.
You're talking to my horse, which I don't understand how is even possible.
He's a druid. He can commune with nature. And animals are a sort of nature.
B, if he's not able to hold the weight of his job, then he needs to leave.
I look to the horse and I say, should I let you free tonight when he's asleep?
So let me see. I don't know. Do you speak directly to the animal, or is it telepathic both ways? I'll say it's telepathic both ways because fuck it.
Fuck it, he wants this to
Thank
happen.
you.
I do. I want this to work. I mean, not that it would really matter if you be hurt or not. I don't think you could stop.
It doesn't change what Randall's saying.
You hear
Right.
yes immediately would be far greatly appreciated. Though I don't know if I would live. We're in the middle of the Badlands after all. So being set free is but a death wish in of itself.
Indeed. Invisibility.
This will be not ideal, but when we are closer to more hospitable land, I can set you free then.
I just hope I can last that long.
I will cast a third level Cure Wounds on it.
Oh, okay. Go ahead and roll 3d8 then. Plus your wisdom.
Also give him a good berry. He might be hungry. Just saying,
That
that's...
is nearly max. That is 23.
Oh my god. So basically, after you place it, make sure you mark your third level spell slot. You see this energy wash over the horse, and initially, after the strange discussion with the man about the horse and talking to the horse, this light begins to like envelop over it. He goes, "Guards, they're trying to attack me!" And you see, and then the horse kind of like you can see the wounds that are on the horse heal fully, and so there's still discoloration from sores. Sores are just natural; they're not going to be able to really be healed away by any means. But any everlasting wound that was on him is essentially fully gone. Several of the guards actually don't even budge. Like the moment he shouts this, you can kind of see they all kind of roll their eyes, look around. Even the man in the plate armor and the woman with the blonde hair as well. That was like essentially holding onto like a book. They all just kind of like sit there. They don't actually move.
At least, I think to myself, someone's smart. At least some people are smart over here.
You get the feeling it's very obvious. They obviously don't give a shit about this man. Like, especially with the recent altercation, they probably lost whatever little respect that they had for this man back with the man that died. So you can kind of tell that you have nothing to really fear from this group, especially the fact that there's only now 5 guards and the 2 others, and not the 6 before. But at the same time, it's still a little bit unnerving the way that the 2 other people who have a little bit more different physique, like the strong man with the plate armor and the woman with the small tome in her hands, you kind of can like get this feeling that they're nearly like forced to help if need be. If the need arise.
Don't worry. What my friend did here, he healed your horse very well. It looks like it too. He should be fine.
You can see the horse is walking a bit nicer as well, a bit better, though it is still a bit slow, especially with all the weight that it's kind of undergoing for a full 12 hours.
It would also behoove you to take this armor off of your horse.
I need it to protect myself as well. If, say, something were to attack the horse and go through it, the armor would at least prevent it from reaching me.
Well, then I guess you're going to get away from whatever attacks you, Harry.
That is very true.
I didn't even hear it.
Oh, what if you need to make a hasty getaway though? You won't be able to run with all this heavy gear on your horse.
You won't be able to get anywhere.
Horses are meant for speed.
Make a persuasion
Me
check.
or him?
I'll say Zacchaeus, because
Damn
Zacchaeus is
it!
the first one because Zacchaeus is the one that brought it up.
Wow.
What do you have to
He's
say?
the one.
I'll say he has advantage because you're helping him.
Okay.
That is 19.
Hey, that's pretty good. Yeah, alright, that beats his arrogance. He does have a plus. I gave him +5 for it because I was just like, he's a pretty piece of shit.
Yeah.
It's a pretty big lord, so.
What
Yeah.
a word to come out of this, Lord.
Lord is gonna be an amazing inside joke in the future. I love it.
Randall's fine. Getting the respect of everyone else in this caravan.
But yeah, basically, you can kind of see his eye glancing. I'll remove the metal at the very least. The rest of it's for my comfort, but the metal, I suppose, would be restrictive of some sort if we needed to move quickly. Very well. And I'll take it off once we stop for the evening.
Alright.
As
Sounds good to me.
doing it now would be too difficult. You also hear, because you still have the commune with, basically commune with nature, the speak with animals, you hear, thank God, from an exasperated, sighful
And
horse.
I look over like, I just see Sakiro's face like, I know what I'm going to say. I just have some feeling.
But
I
yeah,
like how the horse specifically has a god.
there's gods of animals, yeah.
But it's specifically a god.
Alright.
Not a name.
There's funny enough, Theodman may or may not have been part of a god that was for that, for that situation.
Just a hunter.
Of mounted combat, specifically.
Alright, so I was gonna ask. Also, my lord, if you don't mind me asking, do you know when we're...
I do mind, but yes, go on.
When are we stopping for break? For this stopping to take a
Once nightfall hits, it would be 12 hours after that point, presumably.
Right? That's what I thought. Okay.
It's pretty close. Like, you can see the sun is still setting. It's just barely cresting over. Once it fully goes on over the horizon, it'll definitely get pretty dark, especially in this land, because generally you can see the moon in the air when it starts to get dark. You don't see it. Their cloud coverage is very high here, because before it was just dimmer lighting because the sun was behind clouds, but now that it's on the horizon, it's kind of got a little brighter, but once it's gone, your fear is that it might just be pitch black after this point. Though for you, it would be fine, because you have dark vision being an elf, but some of the humans might be underneath some problems.
Yeah, Rex in the fucking box.
Rex, Gopher, Randall, the 3 humans. You got torches, which you'll probably set up camp with, but yeah. So,
He's got one ready.
Alright, so there you go. And we're gonna go back to our card.
Sure.
We see ya. And we go back. Alright, Asparagus. So what do you think? What happened?
Well, are we out of earshot of the guy?
no, you're about 250 feet away now.
I'll just whisper to you. We're gonna set this horse free in a couple of days.
Alright, good.
And,
Last that long.
maybe,
Oh my god.
And what?
I didn't hear that last part. You cut off a little bit.
He cut off a lot.
maybe we'll just, leave that guy here alone.
Honestly, I kind of agree. I'm only kissing up to him, so at least someone stays on the good side of this group.
So, after you guys finish conversing, you successfully drain the barrel as well of all of its booze.
Oh, what
You
the heck did you guys do?
are
We drank.
drunk.
We drank.
Here's a
Make a Constitution saving
Tyler,
throw.
here's a question. Would the reins reach up to me on the rope?
No, they're not. They're very tight. They're meant to be on the front.
Hey, Randall. Can you
Now
mend?
the
Can you,
paper reins
can
don't
you
even
mend?
be
Can you
safe.
mend the card?
I know, dude. Me too.
I've already mended.
22.
No, with the rest of it now. With the empty
Oh,
barrel.
Fix that in a second.
Yeah.
He's gonna mend the card with the whatever left we had the barrel.
Okay, so yeah, basically, especially using like
Another
a dagger or
problem.
something, you kind of cut off pieces of the wood, place them on, spend some time mending. You don't have to roll for wild magic either.
Do I see a way to get the sheet metal? I realize we still have,
What you end up
underneath where the beam would be.
so basically what you end up doing is looking at in ingenuity, just to make a general intelligence check to see how well it is. It'll work, but just to see how strong and durable it actually is.
6.
Okay, I mean it's not difficult because what you're doing is you're using with magic and you're not being an engineer trying to be like, all right, we need to meld this into it. Basically, what you're doing is you're repairing the wood, you're placing the sheet, you're placing the wood underneath the beam where the beam was, and then you're repairing the beam, so then it's locked in place.
Yeah, I'm essentially mending the metal
You-
into the wood.
Basically stuck a piece of metal in between re-repaired wood. That is essentially what you have
You
done.
made a metal wood sandwich.
Yes, there you go. So it is actually functional, but you're not quite sure how durable it will be. It still looks like it'll actually probably do something by the very least. All the holes are covered up with the rest of the barrel as well. So
It's better than nothing.
oh, way better than nothing. Because before you could see in it. Now it looks almost new, almost. Especially using the wood to repair it.
Oof. We got the card all fixed up for the cost of getting Gopher drunk. He's probably happy about it anyway.
Speaking of drunk, so you rolled a 22?
Yeah.
What'd you roll?
20.
Wow.
Not natural 20.
The unnatural 20. You guys, though finishing a nearly 40, basically 10 gallons more of booze, you're not even that drunk. It's amazing. You're still drunk, but you're not gone.
Real bad.
You are still amazingly just buzzed. You rolled over 20 for every single Constitution saving throw.
Jacko, how are you feeling?
Like I've never felt before. I've never drank booze.
You might still feel the effects later on when you try to sleep, but
You look a little more energetic at least, but honestly, yeah, you don't seem that drunk.
She packed away more than Gopher.
the
I think we have a
small tiefling woman has drank more than the nearly
Gopher.
6 foot tall
Gopher.
human barbarian man.
Randall also
Put
comes
a
down
ring on
and takes
that,
some.
Okay,
So
so
the drunk isn't.
Jacqueline looks around and all of the males around her look slightly more attractive.
interesting, because now it has turned to night as well. After about an hour, the sun has now set,
You know what I
and
also realized? I don't need a torch.
why?
It's nice.
I mean, you could also use that lasts a minute. But so essentially, what ends up happening when the sun finally sets, after it's just starts to get dark, after about 15 minutes or so.
That's for you later.
I'll watch it later. Here's your phone.
No.
Okay, I'll take it.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's here. It's over here. What ends up happening is it starts to get darker, and then it's pitch black. You can barely. All you can hear is the sound of movement from the carts. What you can also see in front of you is several of the carts. People have been lighting torches and are essentially walking with it. You hear immediately, "We're taking rest."
Finally.
That man's quite loud.
You hear this because what ends up happening is he sprints down with a horse.
Oh, okay.
And he essentially passes by. He's got a torch in hand, and he's just running down. We're
that
taking rest.
That guy. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, he's still fairly loud, but he's not as loud as shouting over 1,000-foot distance. But he's still fairly loud. And eventually, all the carts come to a rest. Though there is still about 100-foot gap in between each of them. They're still staying somewhat closer, but yet being apart, so that way they, for some reasons.
How big is the cart?
The cart that you're with, your cart,
Yeah.
it is about 20 feet long and 15 feet wide.
Oh, so it's more than 10 feet diameter. Okay.
Yes.
Big as a horse.
A horse? Well, I mean, they're fairly large. I mean,
Actually, you know what? Screw it. She will cast light on herself.
okay. So you just place light on yourself on a part of your robe, and it starts to shine up. Basically, Jacqueline is just a beacon of light right now, 30 feet and 30 feet.
20 feet.
20 feet and 20
feet for an hour.
Yeah, for an hour for essentially 40 feet of light.
Alright, well, that's good. Can I do thaumaturgy to increase it by chance? Was that
I think that
Lasts
affects.
a minute.
I think that also affects only fire.
Oh,
I think it affects lighted candles and stuff.
well,
But regardless,
alright,
it wouldn't do enough. But
let's go get some stuff and make a fire up here, guys. We're gonna need it.
Jacqueline, since she is the point of light, will just stay around.
Oh, so wait, we're making campfire?
Yeah.
yes,
I instantly light it.
We don't have.
you don't have the campfire built yet, but once it does,
Yeah.
boom, campfire's lit.
I also torch.
That's another thing. You know how hard it was to get wood last time?
You used all your wood to repair
Yeah.
the cart.
Yeah.
So, Jordan, why do you need a campfire?
Because so we can stay warm at night while we sleep.
Rex and
Just be my little
Randall
speed
rolls
bug.
out his head.
so after a little bit, you hear Harvey has essentially awoken and stayed silent because Rex has scared him. You hear Harvey open the slit and goes, other one. You're able to stay in the cart. I'm going to want the protection during the night. Open it. He opens the door.
First, I tell them.
Okay.
Tell them.
What?
What?
you
Wait.
Oh, okay. You guys keep an eye on our horses. I don't trust the fact.
Don't worry, we'll keep an eye on them.
Okay.
Then I go.
So how long does the flames of whatever the fuck last for?
The flames of Phlegolas?
Yeah.
6 seconds.
6 seconds? Shit.
You gonna be up all night?
Randall leans out. If you need me to light something, I can do that quick.
Alright, we'll get some wood.
Where? You're in
We have the extra
Deadlands, essentially.
Yeah,
We
that's
used
actually
up the bear.
Oh yeah, we passed it.
Let's see.
You could go get another bear.
No! Jackie may not get that lucky again.
You don't have to.
Hey, Asparagus, do you have anything that we can use as to light for the night?
I have a tinderbox. Does that work?
I
You
mean-
still need
Oh,
other
that
wood
only
for that, I
yeah,
guess.
starts.
You don't even need that. You can use like flowers.
I have 50 feet of hemp. We can burn.
Yes, rope. Okay.
I mean, you can technically use it.
Yeah, I got nothing.
I mean, we have a big fat man a few carts down. He makes pretty good, probably. Pretty good.
Randall says,
tinder.
"Do you
Do
want
we have
help
any
with
debris from the
that?"
cart? Do we have any like debris from the cart or anything? Like
A what?
like
No, the birds threw it off, and it's probably like
Several miles behind. Essentially, you guys are traveling about 15 miles a day of travel.
Yeah, I don't know what to look for.
Yeah, nothing.
Nope. Yeah, the only thing I have is that Jacqueline could light herself on fire, but that only lasts 6 seconds.
And light lasts an hour.
Randall just sticks a torch on the ground, lights that.
Okay. You know, a torch is lit on the ground,
I
embedded into the mud.
Well, I do have 10
That-
torches.
and Randall just goes, "That's the best I got for you."
I do have 10 torches.
Most people do.
Yeah.
Randall has 9.
That now has 9, which will most likely, if that burns the rest of the night, it will be gone.
How long does this last?
About 4 hours.
Alright, so
Not long.
I add 2 more onto that.
So you add 2 more torches that are now lit.
Which will all last only 4 hours.
Exactly.
It reminds me of that one episode of Avatar, that Last Airbender.
Never seen it.
They got stuck in a cave.
Oh yeah, I know
And
what
then,
you're talking
and, then,
about.
and then they had these torches that last for like
I have seen
and
this
they last for like an
episode.
hour, and they had like, how many do you have? 10? So they
And
last
then all
10
of them.
hours!
Yeah.
You put them all at once!
I remember that. I do remember that. That is early in the
Yeah,
in the Avatar too. That's like the only reason why I've seen it. It's pretty early.
Yeah, I was like,
It's before he gets like the
Okay,
water
it's
element.
before-
it was on the way to the water trap.
Yeah,
It's before they find Omashu for the first time.
yeah. So that's like
Right,
episode
'cause they
12.
run into them again.
Cave of the Two Lovers.
Yep.
They never
Yep.
run into those people again.
And
Regardless, moving on. There are now 3 torches lit. It is fairly bright and toasty for the 4 hours
It
that
is
those will
very, very bright because Jackie is still.
also has light on. So now you guys are a beacon right now.
Alright, well,
Randall goes,
I'll take a
"This
torch,
is one for
and this is
them."
gonna go up to the other camps.
Okay.
Find the other ones.
hey, you stealing my torch?
Stealing Randall's.
Oh,
So-
he clicks me off and he steals Randall's.
Yeah.
I go off and I head towards Alan.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, he's not very far.
Yeah. So Alan, what's your guys' plan for the night?
Well, the Grand Maven will be sleeping inside of her stead.
Of course.
The rest of us are planning on just sleeping out here. We've got our bedrolls. Karn is essentially a bed for the halfling man over there. And apart from that, we'll be fine.
You guys don't need light or anything, no fire?
Looks around. I mean, might be a little dark for me, but apart from that, I'll be fine. The rest of them don't need it, so.
What you guys is gonna do about sleeping schedule? Are you all just gonna sleep, or?
We'll have somebody on watch. I'll be probably sleeping the entire time because I won't be a very good watch without my sight. But they'll have someone on watch for sure. I mean, we have to make sure the Grand Maven's safe. And at this point, the horses are also basically tethered to the side, but they're loose enough so that they can actually lay on the ground. You can see like the mud just kind of goes slurps up onto their ankles when they lay down.
Okay. Well, thought I'd come over and see what you guys' plan was. Right. I'm going back. If you guys need anything, scream for us, I guess, if it's important.
I mean, if it's anything bad, we'll definitely shout, because I'm sure the rest of the groups will want to know and possibly help.
The hornbirds are back. The
I mean,
hornbirds are back.
honestly-
That would be bad. We're now on land. They have the advantage of that.
If you have to warn anyone, don't warn the fat little bird.
I would still have to warn the guards.
Yeah,
They don't deserve to die for that fat ass.
When I went over home, man.
He's a man.
Yeah,
I'll say he's a large boy.
a typical noble, rich, stubborn.
Yeah, sounds about right. He's a bit of a prick.
We have to live with. We have to live with it, I guess, somehow.
I feel sorry for Shayla.
Yeah. All right.
Probably smells.
Well, I hope you have a good night. I hope you have a good rest.
As you?
I'll be off. Alright, and I go take my horse
So you're trudging back. Oh, you were on your horse the entire time. Okay.
Alright, and then I
Consent.
hey Asparagus. You want some you want a ration? Or are you gonna eat a good berry for today?
I don't have it attuned for the day, so no.
Alright, so rations it is.
Yeah, you guys are all pretty hungry. All of you actually get fed by Harvey, other than those two.
Yeah.
He comes out with basically a small cube of meat. It's like a cube of dried jerky. But when you bite into it, it then expanded. Essentially, it was like just compressed, and it's like this big. And there was thousands of these cubes inside of his cart.
Tyler, have you seen Blue Wars by chance?
I have.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's weird. It doesn't taste very good, but at least it's enough food to sustain you.
Well, here you go, Asparagus, I'll give you two. One for yourself and one for your horse. We gotta feed
Thank
me.
you.
Yeah, your horses definitely do eat a full ration as well.
Alright. And I'll give it some water too. And pet it and then put it to sleep.
Alright, put it to die. Sweet slumber.
Grab some glue.
We need some way to make a tent.
Guys, we rested here for the night to be cool.
Oh my god.
Nah, he just
You're Luke
loves
Skywalker.
Alright.
Anyways,
The love Lord of
so what's everyone else doing? Is anyone staying up
So, what's
for
the plan
watch?
for watch, guys?
Go for staying up for watch.
I
Oh,
assume Randall is.
so
switch
he's
off.
pretty drunk.
Yeah,
so,
you and Rex can essentially switch off
Alright.
pretty easily.
So you'll be the
Oh,
first
maybe
watch.
that's
Who do you want to watch the next after how many hours?
I'll leave that up to Jack.
Typically, when it's like you're trying to get rest in, it usually changes every 4 hours because then one person is up. Well, they're still basically doing nothing and resting. The other person takes over for 4 hours, and then it takes essentially an extra hour of sleep
Mhm.
because you're going to need that to supplement
Yeah.
the amount of time you're up. But the rest of it's a pretty basic slumber after that point. So
Okay.
once one person switches off, the other person still gets the long rest for essentially an hour cost.
By chance, would you two you're gonna be able to watch it all tonight?
Yeah, in here.
That's what I'm. Is that a yes or a
Not out there.
You can see as well from inside, all the locks are closed. All of them are just locked
Do I even
tight.
understand any of that?
Some of them are keys. Some of them look to have like a weird pattern that you have to.
He was
Basically-
talking about what Ryder was saying.
No, I meant the lock.
The locks.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
you didn't?
So basically, there's a padlock that's a key that once you open, one of them's got like a weird like design on it that you have to match with the rest of it in order to open it. It's like a puzzle cube, basically a Rubik's cube. It's got a design of like an owl and stuff on it. The other one is the super solid bar as well that's just planted there. And then as well as that bar, there's a metal spike that's in the side that he slid closed. So it's down, slid, spike. So to open it, you gotta slide out the spike, slide it up, change the cube, put in the key, and then the door opens.
Oh, God.
Yeah, no, it's a two-person job to get out of this
It would take you quite a while, especially if you don't know how to open that lock with the cube or have the key.
It's literally a two-person job if we're going to switch watch and come out there. And there's only two of us who's going to do this in here. Not really that efficient.
So, Gopher's first watch?
Yeah, so the way Gopher watches.
Okay.
Alright, so Jackal,
Gotta be
what is your
on the
plan?
carry.
What is the plan?
I guess I'll do second watch.
Alright, I guess I'll do third watch.
Where's Beer Man?
So how
Beer Man is actually, he's near your cart. He's actually essentially part of your group, so that way he's not off on his own, sleeping by himself.
Yeah.
He's moved the cart alongside you, and is essentially in the same camp as you, as you're trying to sleep.
So, how long should we have someone watch for?
Well, you said we're resting for 12 hours?
You have 12 hours to rest.
Yes.
Okay. So
Essentially, if you had 3
Well,
watches...
we have 10, but we have 2 hours to prepare for the game moving again.
Yeah, 10 hours rest. Oh, did I say 12? Yeah,
Yeah.
10 hours rest.
So, we can do... Here's 4 of us, we can do 3 hours each. No, that's 12
That's
hours.
kind of over.
Yeah, that's...
3 hours each with 3 of you. That's 9.
No, then someone might not get it. Oh, no, it's 4 of us.
You'd get a full rest if you split it up by 2 people.
Yeah.
You don't have to do 3. You can split it up by 2 people. As long as they're doing nothing during that time that they're on watch, they're fine.
Okay.
They can still get their full rest
So
within
we
8
just do-
hours.
2 hours at this point, all 4 of us, because make it fair.
That's
Well-
8 hours. So we just do 2 people for 5 hours.
If you do that, all of you have to make perception checks at different times.
Oh, good point. Alright.
just for a mechanics purpose.
Alright. So we do 2 every 5 hours.
But you can do it your job.
And
It's up to you.
We'll switch off then. Like, you guys can watch first day, me and Scales we can watch the second day,
No
etc.,
worries.
etc.
That works.
Alright, you made our plan. Let's
Did
get
Randall
some...
hear this?
Yeah.
Maybe we want to not have it be for the sake of the guy we're protecting. Someone he's paying swaps off every night.
Good point. Alright, I guess I'll get first night with Gopher then, and you, the Tieflings, can get night 2, and then so on.
More fine by me.
Alright?
That works for me.
Alright.
Save us some-
So go for starting up then?
Yep.
Alright, roll perception check with disadvantage because you can't see anything beyond the torchlight.
So the first one was a 9. Second one was a 17.
So it's the 9 plus your perception, which is like plus 10.
8. So yeah, 17. Still.
Yeah. It is perfectly quiet. Apart from like a little bit of the sound just going from the ground, just kind of turning a little more solid because it's more cold now. You're kind of huddled near the 4 torches that you had.
Is the ground still like mud?
It's still pretty muddy. It's less mud than it was before,
Okay.
but it's still pretty kind of like gunky. It's more like slush.
Yeah.
Think of it like slush.
Right. Okay.
After a few hours, nothing seems to happen. Everything seems calm. A few of the horses just go, and time passes. 4 hours pass. All the torches die that were placed.
Alright, so I light one more of my torch.
Okay. And you wake up,
I wake up
Ryder.
Oh, what's
for
up?
his shift.
Oh, God. Give me a second. I'm so not used to this. Oh, is this what happens when people wake up early?
Yeah.
You just
Holy
get Randall
shit.
trying
It
to-
is surprisingly annoying too, because you're waking up, and normally for you, you're in your trance that you were in before for so many years, 121 years of your life. You have to wake up early, and you feel annoyed. You feel like way more.
Can I get like a few more minutes?
No.
You feel like trying to hit the snooze button on Gopher.
Right.
Ryder, it's your turn.
Alright.
You gotta get out
Can
there.
Okay, bro,
Randall, does
okay.
Randall hear
You-
this?
you-
You're sleeping.
You lit a new torch for me, right?
Yep,
Hold on.
but that shouldn't matter for you though.
Should we ask what
yeah.
the sleeping arrangements are?
Yeah, actually, that might matter for in case something were to happen.
Me and Rex gotta switch off.
Okay, yeah. So Rex is second, or you first?
Doesn't matter because technically either way.
You're in a cube. It's difficult to hear anything,
Oh, okay.
anyways, because especially with everything there. But regardless,
I just hope I get to laugh.
so you can laugh subconsciously.
Ready to smell this word? No, I'm kidding.
So how exactly are people sleeping? Exactly, like
I'm sleeping near near our horses.
near the horses. Okay, which are next to the cart.
I'll be beside the cart.
I'm in the cart.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm on top of the cart.
You're on top of the cart. Okay.
Asparagus.
I'll be near your rider and my horse.
You'll be what?
I'll be near rider and my horse.
Okay.
Actually, Jacqueline has a horse too, right?
Yeah.
Is her horse by the other horses?
Yeah, they're essentially like, since there's 5 horses, there's 3 on one side, 2 on the other.
Yeah, she'll just be on top of her.
Okay. The other guards are essentially also got off of the bandwagon and is sleeping nearby the cart as well. That's actually an excellent point, because retcon that. You went to light your other torch, one of the other guards lights theirs and places it in the ground. So make sure you mark, because you have 8 torches now instead of 7.
What? Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to need... Nope, never mind. That's for later.
Yeah.
Okay, so we need Ryder to roll perception check.
Regular or disadvantage?
You're fine, because you have dark vision, so you're
I
good.
know, but I'm tired.
I mean, actually, yeah, that's fine. Give yourself disadvantage.
No, I'm
I like
kidding,
it.
I'm
Nope, you have disadvantage now.
kidding.
It's fair. It makes sense for the time. Hey, you didn't need it anyways.
Alright.
First roll, natural 1.
Oh my
So you kind of just sitting there.
Play my lyre. No, my
You loot.
yeah, no, my,
Das loot.
yeah.
Just.
I don't get how humans do this.
And just gets hit in the face with a rock.
It is perfectly normal. Though you're being very enamored by your playing of the loot and paying no mind to the rest of the camp, eventually time passes and it is pretty generic. Nothing seems to happen. Though you do start to hear rain clouds kind of pouring in, thunder nearly.
Oh, I think I stole it.
God. Zacchaeus just casting Call Lightning again, don't worry about it. But yeah, so sun rises now, and you all got your long rest in.
Even me?
Yeah.
Okay. Woo!
Randall comes over there.
How do you guys do it? Oh my god.
Like you asked Gopher last night. Unyielding rage.
Both of Gopher and Jacqueline have a little bit of a hangover. Jacqueline's actually not too bad. It's a new experience. It's more of a headache than anything else. But yeah, so...
I have felt something like this before. Mostly dealing with stupid people.
Valid. Valid. But yeah, so essentially you all get your long rests in, full hit points, half your hit dice. Oh, that's actually a very good point. Who's wearing medium armor? Medium or heavier?
Me.
You're not wearing medium armor, are you?
Mariner's armor, right?
Chainmail is... Okay, yeah, so you are wearing medium armor. Okay. Yeah, Mariner's armor is medium.
Okay.
For those who are sleeping in medium armor, if you... Because this hasn't really been a problem before, because you've never really had to use your hit dice up to this point, but you might in the future.
No.
You're fine because of your feet.
I'm wearing light armor.
You're wearing light. Okay, so this will only affect you, essentially, because he's got a feat that lets him ignore the bad side effects. If you are sleeping in anything that's not light armor, you don't regain hit dice.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah. So if you... So it's essentially to counter... Because so like, if you, say, use up all your hit dice and you wanted to get them back, you would have to sleep without wearing your armor.
Okay.
That's the downside of it.
Okay.
Of having more protection.
I'll keep that in
you
mind.
have to be... Yeah. Be sure to keep that in mind, because it might come into the future... way down the road, or during this road. Who knows? A lot can happen on the road.
Not for me.
Not for you, because you got your feet. Heavy armor, though, different.
I can't wear it anyway.
Yeah, most people can't.
Not for me, because her armor is
Herself.
her.
Yeah. This would also affect Rex, technically. But he doesn't have hit dice to worry about right now anyways. So, after you get up, nice, relaxing night. It was a little bit chilly, especially for the ones that were up on top of the cart, because you're
I
just...
mean, but again, she doesn't care.
Yeah, she doesn't care.
Doesn't.
Doesn't, yeah. It's just chilly. A little bit chilly. But, apart from that, pretty basic.
20 minutes.
Yep, I didn't pay attention through Audacity. Okay, so after you guys essentially get up, prep
I
yourselves.
assume Randall comes up with the food this time.
Yeah,
He's got like a little platter.
Yeah.
Made of
basically
wood.
feeds you all again, other than you two. You don't need to eat yet, but he's keeping his guards very well fed.
Hey, Asparagus, are you attuned to your thingy yet?
Being what, Goodberry?
Yeah.
Yes.
Alright, can you make a few just in case to swallow today?
I will conjure up 10 good berries.
Alright, your palm fills up with these pearlescent blue
If you don't
orbs
mind,
of berries.
I'll take 5 of those, half of those.
When we were on the boat, I had a dream that I was having good berries thrown at me.
Yes,
I
that
remember.
Yeah, I remember that.
That's a weird dream. Why?
Is this what happened?
I don't know.
Randall
I
walks
don't know what you're
by.
talking
Wasn't
about.
a dream.
wasn't a dream.
Wait, I guess you were just eating good berries?
I want to roll an insight check on that.
Okay, you make a deception check.
Randall can hear this coming.
Yeah, absolutely.
Randall walks by and goes, "It wasn't a dream. They were throwing me."
I'm so. Oh boy.
Really?
Alright, what'd you get?
24.
Oh,
18?
no, 20.
Oh, you plus 10 for deception, that's right. Yeah, so you can tell he's full-blown lying to you about this good berries. Especially with Randall's interference of, it wasn't a dream. But yeah.
I trusted you.
What are you talking
I
about?
trusted you.
Yeah, so just so you remember, that wasn't your dream. It was, you do remember having good berries thrown at you at the end of your dream, but it was the beginning of that was the different one, right? Do you remember that part? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure you remember that part. Okay.
So does that mean no good berries?
You can have a single good berry.
What about my horse?
Your horse gets more.
Your horse gets 3.
Well, that's fine. I was gonna give most of my horse.
You get dead in the eyes as I feed your horse some good berries.
Oh.
That's fine too. As long
Alright.
as my horse eats.
So how many good berries are you feeding to his horse?
2.
Okay. Just keeping track of the 2 temporary hit points from it too.
Okay.
Oh, I forgot did that.
Yeah, it does 1 temporary, or does it? No, it heals 1. It just heals 1 hit point. That's what it does. It doesn't actually give you temporary hit points, which is fine. It's good berries. They're nice and good. Okay, so after this fiasco of feeding good berries, you have about an hour and a half before the carts are prepared to leave. Is there anything anybody wanted to do or discuss with the rest of them? You're all kind of congregated now. You're like 100 feet within each other. The ones that are normally 50 feet are still 50 feet. But so then it basically goes 50-50, 100, 50-50.
I tell the group, I think it's gonna rain today. Just a heads up.
Yeah, definitely you can see there's like rolling clouds that are kind of pooling up. It's a lot darker than it was before. And you can kind of hear some thundering in the background. Just
What Avery says that Jacqueline sarcastically says, and looking at him like, so do you think a storm was coming?
Hey.
blows apart the fucking cart.
Alright, I'm gonna go warn the other cards
Yes.
just in case they don't know yet. So, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go tell the other cards. Blah blah blah, I guess. Hey Alan! Is he awake?
Yeah, Alan's awake. He kind of is like, he's got like a bedhead going. He's got a little bit of some like several like points that have just cowlicks all over him.
Your hair's messy too. Yeah, that happens to me too.
I mean, yeah, that's
Basically, he looks like Marty McFly.
yeah.
Well, I came to warn you guys. If you can't tell, I think it's going to rain today.
Oh,
So prepare for that. Tell everyone that in your group. I'm going to go warn everyone else.
I mean, it's rain.
Well, dress up at least. Like, I don't know. Alright.
I'll do what I can, I guess.
Right, and then I go tell. Give me no-
Oh.
Excuse me.
Oh.
Oh, you're having a little. I get my ice out of the freezer.
Oh yeah,
Sure.
you can do that. We'll fill it up later on too, because we'll have the time at the end of the night.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
How many ice trays do you need?
It's just it's in a pink bag.
It's in a pink bag.
Oh, okay.
Alright, after a very nice woman needed her bag of ice from the refrigerator.
Can we somehow change our name to involve ice?
No, misrolled adventure. You guys don't even have a group name yet. That's a very important notion. None of you have a name for this band of adventurers.
I mean, what's
With
Alan's group name?
Look, here's the difference. They're NPCs. You guys are players.
Right now, we're the ice merry-goers.
The ice merry-goers. Anyways. So, is there anything anybody else wanted to do during this time? You're going to go check on...
I was going to go tell everyone else that I was going to...
Yeah.
Is there anything Randall can look around, makeshift like raincoats?
You can make a perception check. There's really not much going on the field.
Between our carts.
Like,
The guard one.
Oh,
Cart.
you can... Since you have access to the interior, I'll let you make a perception check. Since you and Rex are the only two that can actually go inside. Yeah, you essentially find what looks to be a very large blanket that was probably used to sleep with.
So nothing I could reuse.
Probably not like a tarp. A lot of the interior was mostly filled just to be safe, not to more utility use. He didn't expect to ever have to leave the cart, so he didn't exactly plan.
What about the guard's cart?
The guard's cart is just a wagon. It doesn't have anything other than space to sit in.
No. It isn't like spare and jig. It's tucked under the seats.
No, there's no seats to it. It's just a wagon. They're basically sitting on a cart that's just being dragged along with them on the ground. They're not comfortable sitting in this by any means.
Push it open.
Oh.
Yeah, I noticed earlier that the horse and shit.
No, I did.
So what ends up happening after you go and inform everyone, apart from the bulbous man kind of looking dejected at his horse, seeing the metals off of it, he's kind of got like a grimace to him, and then he kind of shakes out of it, attempting to not care or think about it. You warn him, he doesn't say much about it, just, guess we'll have to cover our cloths. And some of the guards then kind of drape over what they've had like rolled up. They've got this still cloth, it's just less expensive looking cloth, and they flaps it over the tops of them. The woman, Shayla, when you go and tell her, says, fuck, I have to worry about rust now. Brother, would you be ever so kind? He gives a nod and then goes, sits on it, kind of holds out the tome that he has in his hand, and this bead that sits at his neck kind of flashes momentarily. You can see this pearlescent, or this transparent dome-like figure almost form over him. That's about 15 feet wide per radius, so he covers the entirety of the cart as he's moving. The entire time he's still chanting while he has this book in his hand as well.
Wow.
And then you go to tell the Tark people as well? Okay. So you ignore them.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't trust going up to them, so...
Alright,
So I head back.
Yeah, make your way back. At this point, the cart's been prepped, horses have been tethered and untethered for you guys to ride.
Alright, time to ride, guys. Ooh.
Yeah. Anything else anybody else wanted to do? Otherwise, we're going to time skip up to moving again.
Can't think of anything else.
Randall just adjusts his shield and gets it right.
Holding up a shield for rain.
Well, no, he adjusts it. And then it writes.
Okay. Trying to protect himself as an umbrella with his shield.
It's all he got.
Yep.
Something does the same thing.
Okay.
It's like, where's it at the head?
Okay, so what ends up happening after an hour or an hour and a half, You guys successfully, essentially begin moving again. The caravan begins to move at the same pace as it was yesterday, and eventually the rain begins to pour. It starts off pretty mildly, and then begins to turn into a very...
Keep an eye out for dragons.
Okay, you'll keep an eye out.
I was literally just going to ask, hey, do we hear flapping wings in the distance?
You make a perception check.
Alright, I will.
You can also make one if you want. It begins to rain pretty heavily.
Randall cannot hear anything over the rain.
It is pretty heavy rain, so it's pretty difficult to hear.
Oh, hold on. I thought you did something.
Okay, what's that? Wow. Alright, Jackie, 22.
You don't hear flapping either.
Okay.
You being basically traumatized from the previous situation that occurred when it was foggy out. You paying attention, trying to hear under the flappings of large leathery wings that a dragon would have.
So this seems natural.
Seems natural, not like the rainstorm that was in Greenest before.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, you can hold up your water skin. It begins to fill up.
Drink it. Until I get my thirst fill, and then
You're good.
to my home to get some more. It's pretty doesn't work.
Basically, if you wanted to get your water skin filled, or your liquor skin, if you wanted to pour out the liquor and fill it with water.
Nope.
No.
Which is fine, because Harvey actually has a lot of water product that he has inside, so you can stay hydrated for most of you.
I was about to say Harvey's probably, not Harvey, you go for his
Also a viable option. What?
They still have the makeshift fishing rod.
You do have a makeshift fishing rod because you didn't throw it out. You got your stick with string attached to it, and no bent nail because it was bitten off.
Oh, yeah.
So this rain essentially continues as you're traveling. Again, you're just looking around and you're not seeing or witnessing anything that's happening. It looks like the rain is either keeping things away or it's making it too difficult to traverse normally under circumstances. Because what ends up happening is the side that's not part of the main road begins to nearly liquefy. It's now disgusting mud. It's got small pools of puddles that have the same colorful liquid that's also inside of it that seems to be mixing with the water, like an oil-like effect, and doesn't look sanitary at all.
It just starts to bubble.
It does not bubble, but it does grow as the rain is continuing. Eventually, you're seeing like small little mushrooms kind of sprout up from the ground as well. You don't. You can make a nature check if you want.
Ooh, I'm gonna do it.
Man, he sounds like me the first few.
Nature check.
Oh, let me eat this purple mushroom.
Alright.
The purple mushroom that
Yeah.
fucking 24 damage to me.
So I got that's a funny roll, but yeah, that's literally how it landed.
What is
That
it?
was amazing. It's an 18.
It's an 18 plus my 1, 19.
You can look at them and they're just purple fungus. They're not like any threatening or that probably eating them is probably not good for you. It's probably not deadly, but probably not good for you because they give off this toxin that when they are broken.
Dragon will keep an eye on her underling.
Okay.
I picked a few.
Well, they're on the ground. Like they're not. You'd have to like lean really far down and snatch one up while you're moving. And they're also on the side roads. They're not on the main road yet.
Okay.
You could do it.
Nah, I'm not.
Yeah, no. Even if you started, she was gonna yell. You'd be like, "I'll order you to not do that."
But yeah, they're starting to sprout everywhere, especially over the course of this day. Because over 12 hours, nothing seems to happen. It just continues to rain.
Wait,
Really?
we've traveled for 12 hours.
Nothing
These
happened.
purple mushrooms immediately popping up
They're not like immediately. They start growing essentially after several hours.
And then as we keep going, eventually they grow wings and start.
Mushrooms.
Some are bigger, but they're not like massive like the purple fungus before.
Jackie is very paranoid.
Jacqueline has PTSD against.
PTSD.
Did I say PTSD?
Yes, you
PTSD about violet mushroom fungus because she nearly died
They're
from
not very fun guys.
But yeah, this is essentially, if anybody wanted to do anything in these 12 hours, this would be the time. Most of you that are not wearing any way to protect yourselves of the rain are getting soaked.
I'll use one of my traveler's clothes and just put it over myself, I guess.
Okay, the problem is that traveler's clothes themselves aren't water retardant, so eventually after they get...
That's their word.
Get out. After they get damp, then it starts to soak through it. So then you just start to get wet anyways.
That's true. Is there anything else?
I mean, it's better
Can
for
I use
us.
my bedroll?
It's the same thing.
It is the same thing. It's not. It would take longer, and then you wouldn't have a bedroll comfortable as it'd be soaked with water.
Yeah.
Can I use the carrot?
Oh.
Just hold him up.
If you had the strength to do that,
Turn into something that I can like lift for 2 hours.
turn into a bat.
I can't turn into anything with flies yet.
I mean, for his benefit, he could probably turn into like a frog or something.
I mean,
Doesn't give a shit about rain.
what's he gonna do on a horse as a frog?
Be a
Just sit on a saddle and just
be a frog on a horse.
Fall off the horse? He can't grab onto anything.
So he's a tiny frog on a horse.
The horse is gonna take a step and he's gonna go and slide off.
Get stepped on.
You don't know.
We're gonna lose.
He's gonna get lost in the mud.
Yeah, true.
Anyways, if there's anything anybody wanted to do for 12, the rain's not gonna do anything existential to you. It's just gonna be annoying and make it more difficult to sleep.
Let's see.
Because now you also can't make light, so you can't write. You can't. Yeah, you and Rex are safe. Being a personal guard seems to have its benefits.
I mean, she can still make herself a light.
Yeah, you can make light. You just
For
can't
1
make
hour.
warmth.
Oh,
Yeah. Anybody wanted to go talk to or anything?
I would assume being wet and cold.
No, yeah.
Oh yeah, let me go talk to Mead, I guess.
To me? Okay. Well, I mean, you've been riding with him, haven't you?
Oh yeah, that's true. That's a good point. So how was your sleep last night?
It was fine. I mean,
So how was your sleep last night?
Where did you
third
sleep?
one.
I slept near the cart. Just slept near the rest of you.
Did you have like a bedroll with you too?
Yeah. I mean, I have my stats and crap with me.
Well, it's for the.
I've got a bunch of materials that I can use to make shift beds.
It's the wrong
Makeshift beds.
Yeah, make a makeshift bed. I got like a tent I can make.
Oh hey, that's nice.
Yeah, it's
So
not.
do you
not
have
much.
anything for this rain?
Not really.
So we're gonna be wet.
Probably, yeah.
That's great.
I mean, I could just sleep underneath my cart. It'd probably be fine. Rain won't at least hit me.
If you be so kind, maybe you think you'd be sharing your cart.
I mean, you have a cart too.
I mean, I have 4.
Granted, that's true. Yeah, you can sleep under the cart. That's fine.
Alright, good. No one else.
I mean, I would prefer not to, anyways.
Yeah. Alright, well.
3's a crowd.
Yeah, 2 is party, 3's a crowd. Anyway, seems like gonna be a boring day. I'm gonna go talk to others, so.
Does anybody else wanted to do anything during this time?
Nothing really to do.
Yeah, you can go and talk to people or do nothing.
There is nothing that she wants.
Hey, Asparagus!
There is no one she wants to.
Our group is around this cart.
Can you feed my horse a good berry?
You guys are just gonna hang out by the cart.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he fed him. He should be fine the whole day.
Oh.
Never mind.
How are you doing, Gopher?
Ooh, I know what I can do. I can drink the rest of that half bottle of rum I got.
Okay.
Well,
So
Well,
you
Randall saying
you
it's gonna take the rain.
see Gopher pull out from his pouch. It's a pouring day.
Hey, Randall takes the reins.
Hey.
It's only been. Oh, I got over my hangover. I hope it heard it.
Did it register?
It might have. It did.
Alright.
Yeah, it did. I could see it on Audacity.
Alright, so, you doing that? What are you guys doing? Before I go talk to people.
I have taken the reins from him because he's starting to drink again.
Okay.
Are
Anything?
you coming out of the thing then, or because
What?
I assumed I had to come out during the day.
Oh yeah. He was on top of it at the beginning. Like, I haven't moved this by any means. This is just there now.
oh, I thought he was inside it.
No. He was at
just
that.
shaking her head at Gopher.
And
So you got one hand on the reins, the other hand on your shield, keeping the water off of you. Yeah. Anybody? So you're gonna go talk to people. Does anybody else wanted to do anything before this happens?
Before I take over for a bit.
Well, who are you going to go talk to? That's the important
Well, I'm
question.
gonna go in order, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
I like how you keep going in order. The one cart that we haven't touched at this point, I assume, is the one with the people we're looking for. You have not touched it.
I mean, I have a mask on, so. Can't really.
Yeah, that's true. You only took it off briefly to show it to Karn.
Yeah.
And you put it back on. Same thing with Zacchaeus, I'm guessing. Zacchaeus didn't actually move his before.
Yeah, he never had to remove his yet. Alright.
To be fair, he doesn't look much different under
It's hides his facial structure, just not his color. It's actually a good point, though. The rain isn't affecting your faces.
Hey.
But yeah.
They shift him
Okay.
up there. They shift
I guess I'll go up to Alan then. Talk to him.
Okay.
Alright. How's it going, Alan?
Not much, just rain.
Honestly, it's kind of boring now.
I'd rather it be boring than life-threatening.
That's a good point. So, how are you guys holding up with the rain?
We're fine. Karn doesn't really care. You can see he's in the same position that you initially saw him in, just stone-faced, looking forwards, holding the reins, not moving. And then you can also see the halfling once again is actually holding what looks to be like a very large green leaf and is holding it over Karn's head as the water is going and just pouring off the side. And he's on his shoulder again, just kind of holding it over Karn's
How
head.
is Karn? He drank a lot last night.
Karn's a fine man. He'll be fine.
Alright? Yeah, he is very large. I can pretty sure you can always look at
Especially if it's just beer. It's beer especially. I'm surprised he even drank it, to be honest.
You wouldn't believe it. Oh, tiefling female over there.
What does the female part have to do with that?
Oh no, she didn't get drunk at all after drinking as much as them.
Ah,
She felt anything buzzed, but
it is beer. I'm sure things would be different if it was a stronger liquor.
I mean, she held it down better than Karn over there, so that's what I'm saying. It's like, oh my lord.
Maybe a big meal later.
It's true. This is true. Oh. So, I heard some stuff from Karn. I asked him a few questions about you guys, so.
Oh yeah? What do you say?
Saying, well, apparently, he thinks highly of you. Especially the way you take on jobs, and the way you only take jobs that you know will only bring good. In a way.
He may have misinterpreted what I had spoken of, or maybe you misinterpreted what he said. We don't do bad. We definitely don't always do amazing, but we aren't, protecting villains of sorts. We're not shipping out someone who's got a wanted list somewhere. But, at the same time, we've moved drugs before. We've moved a few illegal weapons. Though, at the same time, the people that we brought them to typically didn't end up using them because we ended up helping getting them caught. But,
Anyways, it's the way the world works, I guess.
we already got paid beforehand, so it didn't bother us whether or not the receivers got it in the end.
Well, that's the reason why I'm wearing this mask, because I've done a lot. I've done a lot of good, but also done a lot of bad. So I'm pretty sure there's enemies out there who think not highly of me. So
you need it to wear for the carts, though? There's not many of us here.
Yeah, well, I can say us individuals. I don't know much about the one up there, the furthest one.
Ah, yes.
That's very conspicuous to me, honestly.
Conspicuous, but yes.
Like I said, I want to know who my enemies are, but for you guys, I can trust you at least a little bit, enough to show you my face, and I show my face at least.
Well, I greatly appreciate that. I show you mine. And she does the same animation as if he had a mask on. Doesn't move anything.
A man of truth. I like it.
He had the.
Oh, like I said, I heard you're not fond of liars, so you're very more.
Again, I think that he might have gotten that wrong.
He was pretty drunk, so.
That's valid. I'm not, vengeful towards someone if they lie. They're trying to keep a secret, and secrets are for everyone else's own privacy.
Yes.
However, at the same time, if this is a problem that could raise problems for everyone else, it would be more appreciated to learn.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that would make sense. Honestly, that one last attack we had yesterday with the vultures felt kind of unsettling in a manner.
The Peritons?
Yes.
Unsettling how?
I'm not sure if you saw it, but the one large one we fought had a weird purple heart. And after we...
Well, do you know the nature of Paratons to begin with?
No. Honestly.
Well, what they're searching for is they want to steal... They rip out hearts of creatures. That's what they essentially try to do. They rip them out and then go back to their nest to either feed or breed, one of the two.
Well, no, the thing was this one, it was out in the open, and it was black.
There's a lot of creatures. Maybe there's a black heart somewhere.
Maybe so, but it was a lot more stronger than the other ones.
No, they're talking pretty meanderly, or pretty, close quarters, and the rain is also kind of silencing most of it, so you're not able to really hear any of it.
I don't know, and then when we killed it, it kind of just, the heart went off on its own.
Went off on its own, or fell off?
It fell off. I'm not sure what exactly happened. It looked like it got blasted off, but it felt like it didn't want to be anywhere near us or something. I don't know.
Weird.
Huh.
Well, it's gone, whatever it is.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't come back.
Just on the back of his head, and he just turns. Hey, did you guys see? It's just on the back of his head.
And then he goes like big and evil.
And with that, we'll take a break here for people to take the bathroom.
Yeah.
This will be the end of the second episode of this session. We'll move on to our third and final one after this moment as well. So we will continue this in about 5-15 minutes, guys.